He lost $1.2 million in just 5 hours while gambling and got arrested for passing out at the Hooters. That can only be one professional golfer, none other than John Daly. Picture this. A young golfer walks into his coach's office, eager to receive sage advice on achieving his athletic dreams. The instructor leans back, pulls out a cigarette and says, "Just start smoking, kid. Do whatever you have to avoid gaining weight." No, you're not reading a fictional tale of bizarre coaching methods. This is a glimpse into John Daly's extraordinary journey from a golf scholarship student at 18 years old to a legend in the game. But perhaps more unbelievable than his long drives is his unique diet, one that seems to defy every health guideline ever set by humankind. Replace veggies with popcorn, water with Diet Coke, and add a generous helping of Jack Daniel's whiskey. That is about his diet. Daly stated in his book, "I used to drink anywhere from 12 to 20 Diet Cokes a day. How? I don't know, because I don't ever consume water. I hate water." While this is taken into consideration, it should not come as a surprise that vegetables were also off the agenda. I don't eat beans, spinach, broccoli, or any of that other stuff. My dad made me eat it when I was younger, but I couldn't hold it in. The remarkable part of all this is that Daly's golf game only seemed to improve. He'd throw back some jack, head to the course, and practice for 3 hours. He used to play very well when he had a nice buzz going. It is nice when the body becomes really flexible and almost free. While most athletes meticulously measure their carb and protein intake, Daly was sipping his jack, eating popcorn, and counting Marlboro Lights. What a legend. By the age of 21, Daly had already cashed his first winner's check for $6,700. This was the culmination of over 16 years of relentless practice and a work ethic that made him one of the hardest working guys on the team. However, this was not the only method that John Daly started making money during the next 2 months. He made almost $28,000 in 4 different events. John's addiction to gambling started when he was betting $100 on golf holes like you'd bet on poker cards. That was Daly's game. He took on players, mostly overconfident older men at local golf clubs, who never saw him coming. But each coin has 2 sides. Daly won an incredible $16,000 in a tournament in South Africa 3 years after he became a professional. You'd think he'd slow down his celebration and maybe invest or save the money, but he didn't. Less than 24 hours later, that money vanished into the thin air of a casino. Imagine winning the lottery today, and tomorrow you're broke. That's how fast Daly's luck turned. Speaking about luck, John Daly wasn't supposed to compete in the 1991 PGA Championship. But then his phone rings, and it's Nick Price, a heavyweight in the golf world. Think of a star quarterback calling a bench warmer. Price tells Daly he's about to become a dad and was pulling out from the tournament. Suddenly, the impossible looks pretty darn possible. John threw his clubs in the car and drove 500 miles. He arrives just in time, and not just to participate, but to take home the PGA Championship trophy and $230,000 prize money. But don't mistake his craving for money for pure greed. Daly's got a heart as big as his drives. At the same PGA Championship, he donated $30,000 to the family of Tom Weaver, who had been killed by lightning during the first round of the tournament. This generosity is part of what made Daly more than a golfer. He became the weird golfer everyone loves. Daly's no-nonsense philosophy of "hit it as hard as I can, and if I can find it, I hit it again" became a slogan to live by. And you know what happens when slogans catch on? Merchandise. Daly inked deals that seemed straight out of a comedy sketch. Dunkin' Donuts, Hooters, and even a weight loss supplement called Trim Spa. Imagine a pro athlete being sponsored by a yoga studio, snack brands, and video game companies, all at the same time. Yep, that's John Daly's world. However, the golf-related sponsorships were the ones that started to bring in millions of dollars for him. Just by playing with ping clubs while wearing a pink blouse and pink hat, he earned another $236,000. In early 1992, he signed his first major sponsorship deal with Wilson. It was a 10-year deal that earned me millions of dollars a year and lasted until the end of 1992. John Daly didn't exactly start with a silver spoon in his mouth. A rough childhood saw him taking refuge in golf, but the demons of addiction soon found him. Alcoholism was his weakness, and things went downhill after he returned to the PGA Championship the following year, where he finished 82nd. He admitted on the Full Send podcast, "I had been up all night drinking and made it to the course at 7:30 in the morning for a 7:32 tee time. I didn't become fully sober until around the 13th hole." In 1992, my golf game was mainly set on the back burner in favor of making money and going out partying. I guess it was the first time in my life that I allowed my golf game to suffer, he said. It showed that Daly's poor performance led to bursts of anger, during which he would harass his opponents, raid clubs, or toss them into the water. As a result of these actions, a year after he won the PGA Championship, he was suspended from the PGA Tour due to his inappropriate behavior. Eventually, he decided to stop drinking. When he did manage to quit drinking, Daly says he simply switched one addiction for another, like quitting a high-sugar diet only to gorge on salt. In his case, he substituted alcohol with chocolate, devouring M&Ms and chocolate pastries as if they were his lifeline. Weirdly, this bizarre diet seemed to coincide with a slight uptick in his career, almost as if he had found a secret sauce, or in this case, secret sweets. After 3 years of playing golf at a very mediocre level, Daly emerged from obscurity to win the extremely prestigious British Open in 1995. But this isn't just any Cinderella story. It's one where Cinderella devours 9 chocolate chip muffins a day. Daly was so unapologetically himself that he even turned down a call from the US president because he was hungry. But every fairy tale has its dark moments. Just as he was about to sign divorce papers with his second wife, Daly's life unraveled. A night of revelry landed him in the hospital after he fell through a hotel door, and soon after he checked himself into rehab. This move didn't sit well with his sponsors, Wilson and Reebok, who pulled the plug on multi-million-dollar deals faster than you could say four. At this crossroads, Daly had a choice. He could take a lesser sponsorship deal with Callaway for $1.2 million a year, but only if he promised to stay sober. When another sponsor offered him $3 million to go back to rehab, Daly looked them straight in the eyes, took a sip of his drink, and said, "No, I'm good." When John published his book in 2006, he had already lost $55 million in gambling over the past 15 years. One night in Vegas, he was playing the slot machines, $5,000 for each draw, leading to a loss of $600,000 overnight. Before withdrawing another $600,000, which he then also lost again, this brought the total amount he had lost to $1.2 million in a span of 5 hours. But what do you do when you win $55,000 after a wild gambling night? If you're John Daly and your fourth wife confronts you about your gambling problem, you toss the cash over a bridge. That's right. Daly made his point by throwing money into the wind, literally. He then took his wife to a McDonald's drive-thru as if to say, "Honey, this could be your life." It's like telling someone they can either ride in a limo or take the bus, depending on how they view money's role in their lives. Daly was able to make a comeback in 2016 that was highly effective thanks to his ability to practice again. Nonetheless, he has since built one of the most illustrious legacies in the archives of professional golf history, achieved his best score ever in his career, and achieved tremendous success with apparel partnerships through the Loudmouth Company. So, what's the takeaway here? Whether you love him or loathe him, John Daly is impossible to ignore. His story serves as a reminder that life, like golf, is all about how you make the comeback, not how you set the setback. We've had our say, now we want to hear from you. What's your favorite John Daly moment? Share in the comments below, and if this roller coaster of a tale has gripped you, don't forget to share it with your golf buddies.